Sofia Martinez stared out of her apartment window at the city lights below. It was a beautiful evening, but inside Sofia felt numb. At 38, her life seemed to be stuck in place. Once a promising writer with dreams of publishing her own book, she now worked a mundane office job that drained her creativity. Her apartment, though cozy, was cluttered with reminders of her forgotten aspirations. Notebooks filled with half-written stories, a typewriter gathering dust in the corner, and a stack of self-help books she had never finished reading. Her golden retriever, Luna, rested her head on Sofia's lap, as if sensing her owner's melancholy. Sofia sighed, absently running her fingers through Luna's soft fur. That's when her eyes fell on an old pair of running shoes, tucked under the desk. A memory stirred. Long walks she used to take in her 20s, when life felt full of possibilities. The thought was fleeting, but something inside her whispered, why not? A simple step forward. That night, Sofia decided to take Luna for a walk. She laced up the shoes, their worn soles a testament to better days, and stepped out into the crisp evening air. The city park was alive with the sounds of nature. A gentle breeze rustling through the trees, the faint chirping of crickets, and the occasional bark of a distant dog. Sofia walked slowly, unsure of her decision, but as Luna tugged at the leash, her pace quickened. One lap around the park turned into two. The cool air filled her lungs, and the rhythmic sound of her footsteps began to feel meditative. For the first time in months, Sofia returned home with a lightness in her chest. She smiled at Luna and whispered, maybe we'll do this again tomorrow. Chance meeting. The walks became a nightly ritual. Sofia began to notice the little details she had once ignored. The way the moonlight danced on the pond, the rustle of leaves in the wind, the soft glow of streetlights reflecting on the pavement. One evening, as she paused to catch her breath near a bench, she noticed an older woman feeding a small group of pigeons. The woman looked up and smiled warmly. Beautiful night, isn't it? The woman said, her voice kind and soothing. Sofia nodded. It really is. The woman introduced herself as Margaret, a retired teacher who had been coming to the park for years. Sofia felt an instant connection to Margaret's calm demeanor and the stories she shared about finding peace after losing her husband. Sometimes, Margaret said, all it takes is one small step to start turning things around. Finding community. Margaret soon invited Sofia to join a walking group that met every Saturday morning. Nervous but intrigued, Sofia agreed. The group was a mix of personalities, each with their own struggles. There was Raj, a tech worker recovering from burnout, Mia, a young mother balancing work and family, and Alice, a retiree trying to stay active after years of a sedentary lifestyle. Sofia felt a sense of belonging she hadn't experienced in years. The group's shared stories and laughter made the walks more than just exercise. They became a source of inspiration. One morning, after finishing a brisk walk, Margaret mentioned an upcoming hike to Sunrise Ridge, a trail known for its stunning views but challenging terrain. You should come with us, Margaret said. Sofia hesitated. The idea of hiking a mountain felt overwhelming, but Margaret's encouraging smile made her consider it. The climb begins. The morning of the hike was crisp and clear, the sun just beginning to rise. Sofia stood at the trailhead, her heart pounding with a mix of anticipation and doubt. As the group began the ascent, Sofia focused on the crunch of gravel beneath her boots. The trail wound through a forest, sunlight filtering through the trees and painting the ground in golden patches. The climb was harder than Sofia had expected. Her legs burned, and her breaths came in short gasps. Halfway up, she stopped, leaning against a tree. "I don't think I can do this," she admitted to Margaret, who had paused beside her. Margaret placed a hand on her shoulder. "The summit isn't conquered in one leap. It's done one step at a time." Those words resonated deeply with Sophia. Taking a deep breath, she pushed forward, focusing only on the next step, reaching the summit. After hours of effort, the group finally reached the top. Sophia gasped as she took in the view. Rolling hills bathed in golden light, a river shimmering in the distance, and a sky painted with hues of pink and orange. She felt a surge of pride and joy, not just for reaching the summit but for proving to herself that she was capable of more than she had believed. Margaret smiled at her. "See, one step at a time. A new chapter." The hike marked a turning point for Sophia. Inspired by the experience, she began to apply the one step at a time philosophy to other areas of her life. She dusted off her old typewriter and started writing again, just a few lines each day at first, then pages. Her creativity reignited, and she even submitted a short story to a local magazine, which was published to her surprise and delight. Sophia also reached out to her estranged younger sister, whom she hadn't spoken to in years. Their first conversation was awkward, but it was a start, a single step toward healing their relationship. She continued walking with the group, and with each new trail they explored, she discovered more about herself. Months later, Sophia stood in front of a small group of new walkers, sharing her story. "When I started, I couldn't imagine climbing a mountain, let alone turning my life around. But it all began with one small step, a walk in the park." Her words inspired others to take their first steps, proving that change doesn't have to be dramatic. It can be quiet, steady, and powerful.